Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Brody Benson, sitting here with Gage Schram from Springfield, Nebraska. Just bringing you another episode of the segment, kind of showcasing the UNL Rodeo Team. So thanks for being here today, Gage.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you mentioned earlier that it wasn't really until you were about 14 when you really got more interested in rodeo, and there was some family that kind of really helped you create more opportunities for that. So kind of talk about your rodeo experience before you were 14 and then leading up into when you really found a purpose and wanted to invest more of your time into it.
Sure. Yeah. So as a young kid, I remember, I've got all sorts of baby pictures, I'm always around it. I always be in shoot help. I always had my little pony Arnold we ride around. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. But at the time, coming from the eastern end of the state, there's not a bunch of people in the rodeo community, and so it just wasn't that enticing to me as a young kid. It was neat, but like my dad always says, it always just kind of looked like an old man sport to me until it was about 14. We were at Gary Kirsten's place, and he's got an awesome arena over at his house, and I've had an opportunity to rope there my whole life, and so these two boys, these whited boys who are pretty popular within the Nebraska rodeo scene, they were roping there one day, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. They were younger at the time. I think they're probably, at the time were about, 16, 17 years old. And so, yeah, it was just a great opportunity to really see what that was all like. And since then, I've just kind of been set on it, been in love with it. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And coming from Springfield, Nebraska, being close to Lincoln and Omaha, people think about, outside of there, it's not rural, it's subdivisions, everything. And so what does that kind of mean to you to be able to represent the community you're from, not being some subdivision or city slicker, but actually representing rodeo in the Western way of life?
Yeah, no, it's super duper cool. It's definitely a neat thing in our area. You don't see it very often. And honestly, it's kind of helped my transition coming here to Lincoln for school, because I've always been surrounded by people that just don't necessarily get it. It's kind of an anomaly to them, and so yeah, it's a really cool privilege I get, and at the end of the day, it is, we are rodeo cowboys, and that's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter where you're from. We all have the same values, we all have the same mindset about things, and so that's where I think it's just really important to embody who you are as a person, and kind of things you like to enjoy doing, like rodeo, and really just putting that forward in a positive light. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's a great mindset to have. And so you're team captain, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Jay Nelson. And so talk about what that means to hold that position, be able to lead this team, and what kind of culture you want to instill into the UNL Rodeo program that you hope to stick around here as you move on to a different career.
Yeah. No, my biggest thing is when I first came to the university here, so often it felt like we were just here to have fun. And although that's a huge part of it, at the end of the day, you've got to be competitive. You've got to be there to win. You can't be there to just mess around and enjoy what you're doing. It's obviously important, but you've got to want to win. And so I think that's the one big thing I've been pushing, especially, at the time I've only got, 3 guys underneath me right now, but I've been making sure I make a really strong effort to push them to be at practices and push them to excel in school and stuff like that, but really just win every chance they get, whether it's in the weight room or in the practice pen or at the rodeo, just to really strive for perfection everywhere and strive to be the best they can be. And so that's the kind of culture I'd like to see left around here as I move on someday, is just to see this positive progress we made in these last few years, to just keep amping up and creating an elite team here at the University of Nebraska.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you and so we're kind of in the second half of the season. The fall is concluded. We're now in the spring. You guys had one rodeo under your belt. So kind of reflect about last fall, how things went last week or a couple weekends ago, and kind of what you're gearing up for. And you can kind of give some highlights or what you enjoyed or things that stick with you, whether it's you yourself or some other teammates, just to kind of give maybe people, the viewership, a recap of how things are going, and so they can kind of stay tuned for the rest of the season.
Sure. Yeah. So let's start back. As you know, the rodeo, your college rodeos, you've got a fall season and a spring season, but rodeo is a year-round sport. And so all summer last year, I had went down the road with Logan Hughes, and we'd rope together in the fall, and that was great. We pulled some money here and there throughout those college rodeos, but never just did have a great chance to connect, and that's all right. That was just part of being with a new team. We were still pretty fresh, even though we'd been going all summer long. And so then sadly, he had a pretty unfortunate roping accident here in about February, and so now I've started roping with Dominic Schmidt, and he goes to NCTA there in Curtis.
Okay.
And so far, I mean, let's see, in Ames this last weekend, we got second in that rodeo, so that was really exciting to connect. Roped at the Mid-Plains Community College fundraiser rodeo there in McCook, which is a mid-states rodeo, and that was good, but sometimes it's just a little different caliber, and so it was really nice to be able to connect there at the college rodeo. And so, yeah, I think the way the college rodeos are really structured, it's really neat. It gives guys like myself an opportunity to go down the road while you're in school, and it helps financially. I mean, you're still going to rodeos, you're still keeping your horses in shape, still keeping your ability to compete really sharp, and but you're also able to do it on a lot cheaper scale. I mean, you pay your NIRA card fees, but past that, the fees for the events are a lot cheaper, which is nice. And then past that, you get opportunities like here at the university where you get your fuel paid for, you get parts of your hotels paid for, stuff like that, which is really nice.
That's awesome. And on top of those amenities, getting fuel paid for and everything, soon there will be able to be another amenity to be able to board horses here and everything. And so talk a little bit about the equine and rodeo sports complex, maybe the process that they're in or that you know of and that you can share, and what that will mean not only to the rodeo team itself, but also just the University of Nebraska, especially just recruiting and having kids wanting to be able to come here with those amenities.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a huge thing for us, and it already is as a recruiting tool, and we're making good progress on it. It's one of those deals where it's a big project and it takes a long time, and you want to do it right the first time. And so right now we all board out of a place just by the St. Hills Global Event Center here in Lincoln, just on the east end of town. And it works out good. A lot of the teams there, we all can kind of help share who's hauling horses which days. But what it comes down to is having that accessibility on campus. That's going to be huge for us. Number one, it's going to lower our costs. But number two, it's just going to give you more opportunity to be more hands-on with your animals, practice more often, and just make it more accessible. Like even right now, it's not bad to come down here to East Campus, to come to the practice arena if you want to go rope a dummy during the day or something like that between classes. But I think with some of the money we've gotten in recently, we're going to be able to build some really nice team areas where we can, in my opinion, I can see myself going down there at the beginning of the day and graining my horses, and then sitting down at a table somewhere and at this new facility and doing homework all day and hanging out and kind of being in the team atmosphere all day long. A lot like kind of like a locker room setting is, and just hanging out with all your teammates. Go do your homework and go to practice, and you can sit back down, do more homework, do whatever you need to do, which is really, really neat. So I'm excited, and like as a recruitment tool, it's going to be one of the best facilities in the Midwest, I think. And so I think by providing that, it's going to give us a lot of chance to pull in some of the best talent.
That's awesome. And so on top of the complex itself, you rodeo at UNL, obviously, and so you chose here for a reason. Why should, whether you're transferring in from a JUCO or a two-year college, or whether you're just coming out of high school, why should people in the Midwest, or even just throughout the whole United States area, why should they consider coming to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln to continue their rodeo program?
Well, as far as the rodeo goes, I think we have some of the most top-notch coaching there is. Coach Wyatt Clark is absolutely amazing. He's super knowledgeable in everything he does. He cares more than anyone I ever know, and he works his butt off. Beyond that, we've got a great team, a fantastic atmosphere here. You go to some different places and there's maybe some drama, a little bit of tension between different members, but here we're super tight, super cohesive, and it's really nice to have that atmosphere. I mean, you sit here and you hear the cliche, we're family, but we really are. We're all here to help lean on each other and make sure we're becoming better every single day. And obviously, you got to come here for the ambition, for the education. This is a great school, especially we have people in all sorts of different majors. Obviously, all your agricultural majors, your animal science, ag biz, stuff like that. But we have a lot of people off city campus majors. I rodeoed with math majors, with meteorology majors, with different business majors. All that stuff. It's super duper neat because you have those connections. You know people in your classes. I love nothing more than walking into class and being like, who do I know? Who am I going to sit with? And I'm like, hey, I know you, and you rodeo with like Savannah Jensen this year. I walk into class. I'm like, I don't know anyone here. And then there, you get your people, so it's really nice to have that bond on campus.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, if you want to see Gage compete, come down to the UNL Rodeo May 2nd and 3rd at the Sandhills Global Event Center. And man, Gage, thanks for sitting down with me today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.